This is Matrix Lord 212. So every gamer needs to establish their independence, right? So if you're a young gamer, if you're in your late teens, early 20s, you really want to establish a checking account, obviously, to start doing your gaming venture if you're in deep competition, okay? And when you go into the bank, you want to always deposit whatever loose change you have. You want to take half that, okay? And you want to deposit money with change. The reason why you want to do that is most of the times you don't miss your loose change. So if you keep, to say you'd make a deposit of $100.75, right? Every single time you go to the bank, deposit change, okay? So that way it builds up a little bit of a savings. So that way, if you have to get a PlayStation card and it's a little bit over, sometimes I have a PlayStation card where if you're buying from, let's say, Asia, um, the denomination's like, say, $11.09. It's the weirdest thing. So you need change in there, right? So um, the best thing is to have a checking account established, connected to your Cash App. Because when you're buying games from foreign markets, you need to use your Cash App, your PayPal, stuff like that in order for it to work, okay? And you have a PayPal and you put all your credit cards in there, and you manage it that way. Because most of the times when you're going to buy games in foreign markets, you can't use your credit card. You have to have it linked with something, okay? If you have an account on PlayStation, they never let you use your credit card in foreign markets. So you need a separate account. But like I said, when you go to the bank, always deposit change with your funds. But not all your change. Because what you want to do is you want to take half your change, or at least you have enough change on you. If you're buying something in a store, you could pay exact change, like quarters, dimes, nickels, pennies, whatever. But not a lot where you're going to weigh yourself down. So always deposit. First of all, create a checking account for yourself if you're young to establish your independence. Then, when you're making deposits, to always deposit loose change. Now, when you get paid, let's say you had direct deposit, and say you're getting out $100, the best way to have that money on you is in small denominations. So, in other words, when you go to take $100 out of the bank, tell them you want 10 tens. This way, you could budget yourself. So if you know you have 10 $10 bills, every time you go to take a 10, you know you're not going to have that anymore. So you can mentally budget yourself and say, okay, I'm running out of my tens there. Okay, meaning I'm going through my $100 bill. When you have bigger bills, it's easier to spend. So like if you have $100 bill, you're going to spend $100 or $50. But if you split up, say, the $100 into small increments, you can manage your money better as a gamer, let's say. So, like I said, one, establish a checking account. Two, establish like a direct deposit when you work, whatever. Do that. Three, establish a PayPal, a Cash App linked to your checking account. Put all your credit cards in the PayPal. And create multiple accounts for the different regions in the PlayStation. Because if you're going to be in deep competition, you need to have an account for Europe, Asia, and Japan. So you need to watch a YouTube video to see how to do that, okay? And then you buy the games on that account, and then it's on your main PlayStation. So on your main account, you play the games, okay? But again, also carry some change with you. Like, get a little thing. I have like a Spider-Man pouch where I put some change in there. Because the worst thing ever is when you have to break a big bill. Because then you don't realize it's missable. Also, when you're buying stuff, and let's just say you're taking $10 and you're buying food, and you have change left, always separate the change that you got, meaning like the dollars and the change, from your main access of money, right? But also don't do it where somebody can rob you either. So what I usually do is I put the, like just say I'm buying pizza, and I got like $2 and change left, but $2 bills and maybe some change. I'll put it in my pocket, and that's like sort of like my, anytime I get like, I break a bill, it gets together where maybe I could get a pizza, maybe I could buy something. Like you could use that as like spare money. In other words, try to keep it from your separate from your main money. Also, by doing the thing with the change, you're going to build up a little bit of savings that you're not going to pay attention to in your bank account. So when the time comes and you want to save up for a big game, you already be saving up for the big game by throwing extra change you're not paying attention to. Okay? Um, when buying games also, don't go to be like don't outspend your means. All right? Make sure when you're spending, if you have a certain amount to spend, try to find, if you're going to be a trophy hunter, first try to play all the cheap games you can first. So wipe out all the $1.99 games and 99-cent games, play them all. Buy them all. Then you go to the next tier. Okay? If you have money beyond this point that you could spend without missing it, then you'll buy, like, say, the $6.99 or $10 games. Of course, as a gamer, you'll want to buy, let's say, that $65, $70 game. But you need to build up your finances first before you could just shell out. Now, when you're on your own, or when you're like young and you're trying to do it yourself, where you're trying to pay for yourself, not your parents or not whatever, you got to establish a means to make money. So you got to probably go to work, right? Retail, whatever, and try to build up your own. Try to do your own savings, build up responsibility. Okay. Even though you work, everybody should have a YouTube channel to make money. You should try to establish that as a hobby, okay? Or TikTok, or different forms of social media where you could have a backup plan, all right? Now, it's free basically to do YouTube unless you're buying stuff or reviewing things, but in your spare time, you should build up your brand. YouTube brand, TikTok brand. There's no pressure. It's all yours. So you could film and post at your leisure. But by doing this, you'll create a secondary income that you use towards your gaming, right? I also recommend too, like, to try to do, it may be time consuming, but to try to do the apps with the surveys. A lot of the times you're doing these surveys things and you lose credit, but there are some things out there, if you do the surveys, you can make $5 or $10 a day. If you have spare time and nothing else better to do, and then that $5, $10 could buy you a PlayStation card. All right. So always try to, in life, have a backup plan on top of a backup plan on top of a backup plan, because things go wrong very fast. There was one time that things were so bad for me that I had 5 different jobs. Okay. And I utilized all of my resources to what I'm good at. Okay. I did a job where I wrote for a magazine. So it was fun because it was like, I was like Peter Parker. Like, you make money I made money for submitting a photo. And so let's say I got paid $25 to submit a photo. And then I got paid $75 for the article. So I got paid $100, right? So I connect that so much to, like, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Daily Bugle, when he used to do that. So I really enjoyed that from that aspect, that I felt like Peter Parker for a second. So I utilized my writing talent and then also filming, like YouTube talent. So I wound up submitting photos and doing articles for a magazine. But then sometimes I didn't want to do that because if you're ever in a situation where you have to write an article, you don't feel comfortable about it, and even after you still, then don't do it. I mean, most of the time you can get around it. You could get yourself into the mood for it and then inspired. But if you're not into it, you're not going to have your best work. But again, utilize your different talents. So in that case, the one job I had, I wrote articles for a magazine. Another job I got clients for a company. Okay. And I created events where they would get clients. They would have like an open house where they would have food and sandwiches, and they would get people to come in showing off their business. Hey, do you want to sign up here? Or do you want to, like, do classes here? And we have packages. That was another job. Another job was I managed a mall. Then, different things that came up. I loved that job. I managed a medical practice, right? And then I had a retail job where I in Staten Island, I worked in the pet industry, which I always worked in the pet industry at some point in time in my life. I was even a district manager of a pet company. But you want to utilize your talent. So while you're young, You don't think about what your strengths are, what you're good at, and try to make money from it. And again, if gaming is your hobby, this is a good guide. Even if gaming is not your hobby and money wise, you want to watch this video to save money or whatever, that's great. I mean, I don't claim to be an expert, but I try to give my 2 cents in being alive in this planet for 50 years, how this will help you, you know. And the whole thing is, they always teach you, they always tell you, but you don't want to listen to your elders, you don't want to listen to your old people. But you'll see when you get older, you need to put money away. You know, and put money away, save while you're young, because you're never gonna know when something happens. What I've learned is when something happens and something goes wrong health wise, it's very, very expensive, especially if you're not medical coverage and everything. So while you're young, save while you can, build that up for yourself, whether it be for gaming, whether it be for the future, stuff that you're not gonna miss. Change in your pocket, a couple dollars here and there from getting lunch, you know, even $20 or $40 or $50 from your paycheck. Try to build up a savings for yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to be in charge of you, okay? You have to rely on you. You can't really rely, I mean, sometimes you can, but you really don't want to be in this position where you have to rely on anybody. So you want to be independent. And that's the whole message of this video, is I really want you to be independent, to be standing out on your own, to be your own, like, boss, being your own, like, finances, you know, worry about, like, you helping you. All right? I hope this video helped you. Have a great day. Take care. Bye for now.